Hello everybody, welcome to Boxing Science. Today we're going to be doing box jumps for boxing. Now the reason why we use box jumps for boxing is to improve explosiveness and the stretch shortening cycle of the lower body. We want rapid rate of force development to transfer that force from foot all the way through to fist. Now the reason why we use box jumps is because it creates that intent, because we're needing to get onto that box. If we don't create that intent and that rapid rate of force development, we're not going to reach the box. And then also it reduces eccentric loading and landing forces. We know that boxers struggle with eccentric loading, controlling that force. So when we're producing a lot of force and trying to gain that maximum jump height and that maximum velocity, we've also got to think about how we're landing from that as well. And when we're doing hundreds of hours of training during a training camp, lots of impact forces during running, the last thing that we want to do is overload the ankles, the knees, the hips when doing jumping activity to add to that impact load. So it's reducing any kind of soreness, all that injuries that are associated with doing jumping. Now today we're going to be working with speed and power specialist Ben Simons. He's also a two-time Olympian bobsleigh athlete. I'm going to be training with him quite a lot down here at the Boxing Science Performance Centre. He's kindly enough offered his 10 variations of box jumps. Okay guys, if you've got any questions about any of the exercises that we're going to demonstrate, please pop them in the comment box below, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Key points here. I'm going to be holding a paused half squat position, so a little lower if you can. Let's get the arms behind you, ready to drive up and forward. And from there, you're pushing straight through the floor and into the box jump. Perfect. That's good. So yeah, we're developing rate of force development, taking the stretch shortening cycle out of the jump with the pause. Good. So with what you did before, I would still say that that's acceptable, because within sport, it's good, I think, in the weight room environment to develop full extension. But if you observe sport, then actually full extension occurs quite rarely. But for the sake of developing full ballistic power here, let's go for full extension. There we go. You felt that? Yeah. So without the constraint of you having to tuck up to that higher box, you can now get a full hip extension. Okay, good. Yeah, now we're talking. Okay, so we're keeping the concentric focus here. Now we're sitting on the box, so we remove the pause. What that's really going to do is challenge how quickly you can take up muscle slack now and produce high force. So we're really going to increase rate of force development here.
Swing the arms still.
Yeah, you can swing the arms, that makes it a lot easier. Very nice. So exactly the same key points as the double leg, but now being challenged by the fact that it's unilateral, one leg. What's even more difficult is not using the stretch shortening cycle makes unilateral jumps even harder, because within gait that never happens. So for me, I often use this as a speed strength stimulus as well. We talked about before. So same key points. You can use an arm string, but I don't want you rocking in. Opposite leg up and jump.
You're landing on one.
Land on one. You can land on one or two, to be honest. I think maybe for the purpose of this video, let's land on two. So I'll do it again. Good work. It sounds counterintuitive, but slow it down. So like I said, it does very much feel like a speed strength movement. So you can really load over that left knee. Feel like you got a bit more out of it.
Felt more control.
Yeah.
Felt a lot more control.
Yeah. There's quite a big stabilization factor there, like you said before about avoiding too much valgus in the knee. Your glute med and VMO have got to work in some good synergy. And yeah, that just it takes a little longer. It feels a little bit of a longer contact because everything's got to stabilize around it. So yeah, it's definitely feels a lot different from the bilateral version. So now we've got a straight box jump. This will involve a counter movement. The one thing we're looking for here is hip displacement over box height. What you'll find is a lot of athletes will set the box too high and then they will not achieve full hip extension because they're diving into a tuck to get up onto a box which is too high for them. So what we're looking for is how far we can displace the hips vertically. So little demo. We want a good smooth counter movement using the arms. Now what you've got to factor in is the counter movement.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to swing those arms down, load the legs, develop the pre-tension.
I'm quite surprised that I made that.
I mean, it was pretty good, mate.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that I think you weren't expecting to be that easy onto it,
Yeah.
so it almost took you by surprise.
Wait. Take two.
So instead of trying to charge up quickly,
Yeah.
like let it build for a second.
Yeah. There you go.
That was good. So you can get the arms a bit longer and they can swing back behind you a little further as well.
Right there.
Yeah, yeah. Feel the load you got. Nice. Do you feel like the hips got involved then?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously we lengthened the moment arm here,
Yeah.
threw that down, that created more momentum, loaded up posterior chain more, and then bam, you got that hip extension going through. So that's often what you'll find, especially with the guys you're working with being so reactive. Everything they try and do is short because they've got to be so quick. When you're in the gym here, just developing ballistic power, and these are the sort of cues that you can be looking at. Now we've got the single leg box jump. This is very similar to the seated single leg, but you're going to start upright. What that means is you can use a stretch shortening cycle, and so this will feel inherently a lot easier than the seated version. And you'll also feel like you're occupying a different area on the speed strength curve. So I'm going to start on one leg. What we're looking for here is a good knee drive. During the counter movement, you're going to move the leg back, hips through. So as you did with keeping the moment arm of the arms longer in the last one, you've got the legs taken into account here as well. The free leg.
There.
Yeah, so the arms match the free leg.
Okay.
So you're getting a long swing with the free leg from a high knee, long swing, push forward. What you're getting there is the momentum through the posterior chain. Nice. So you see, you're finding that automatically easier than the seated one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do find myself swinging in just a little bit
Yeah.
into that valgus, but
I think your cue, I think you need to just concentrate on the free leg. So just drive the knee rather than thinking about the stance leg. Yeah.
that one much easier.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is the med ball box jump. First things first, we just add in load. This, without the arm swing, becomes a little bit more anterior chain dominant. We're getting extension through knee, hip, and then shoulders. So you could argue it's a little bit more specific to throwing punches.
Yeah, yeah.
Full kinetic chain, great ballistic power developer. You're then going to dip the hips into your half squat and then extend as you jump.
And does the med ball come up a little bit?
Yeah, so the extension should continue.
Okay.
So it should be hips,
So
knees.
almost like a landmine squat to press kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a squat to press movement. Very nice.
Felt like we're going a little bit early with that press.
Slightly, yeah. You'll find when you get the sweet spot, and what I find is that it enables athletes to get that hip extension. That was a little early again, I
A
think.
little early.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, later.
Let's just think hips. That was a better hip extension. Yeah, yeah. People concentrate on the arms, but it's an afterthought, right? It's always hips first, power center, then that's an afterthought. It's a result of what you're doing with your hips.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's surprising, isn't it, how easy the jump becomes when you actually get that extension through. Yeah, it makes the landing quite nice as well because you hug it back to the chest. Okay, so now we've got the dumbbell box jump. This is the easiest way to add load. You can use a weighted vest, but if dumbbells are available and you haven't got a weighted vest, this is the easiest way to go. Takes the arms out of the equation, so we can really concentrate on the lower limbs and the hip mechanics. So, if you want to have a go, mate? Nice. That's really good, mate. Yeah, really good. Now we've got a dumbbell drop jump. The idea here is to use the dumbbells during the eccentric phase, let go of them at the bottom, and then it's a free concentric phase in the jump. We're increasing eccentric rate of force development in the name of neural trickery here to try and augment the subsequent jump. You can drop into it. Yeah, the more that you kind of charge your legs and get a stretch reflex, the better you're going to get, the more you're going to get out of the jump. Nice. Nice. How do they feel?
Good. Yeah.
It's quite cool, isn't it? Because your body's almost prepared to turn that 20 kilos around.
Yeah.
And then you drop it just before the coupling phase, and then that all becomes much easier afterwards. It's pretty simple, really. We want the same elements that you've done with a normal box jump here, but you're just going to turn 180 onto the box. Sounds quite complicated, but when you give it an attempt, it'll probably be easier than you think. This is all in the name of rotation and agility, to make it a little bit more specific and to enable you to use that rate of force development and ballistic power through rotation.
Whey! Nearly went full circle.
I reckon give it another go like that. I think, just getting used to it. Just make sure you finish the jump there. Just make sure you finish the jump there, rather than like twisting and diving for it. There we go. So if you just got the depth then, that would have been nailed.
There we go.
Nice. Nailed it. You want to load up the jump as if you're doing the normal single leg box jump. But obviously you've got that twisting movement going on. So I think the best thing you can do now is have an attempt, see where we are. I would go medial first. So strongest leg is your left, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
That was better, yeah. Yeah, this is where it becomes a little awkward and you've got to watch that knee. Nice. Thanks for watching our box jump series. Hope you enjoyed it. I haven't got much else.
We didn't rehearse this. Big thanks, Ben, to show us all them box jumps variations. I learnt a lot. Learnt that I'm an absolute powerhouse. I'm nearly catching up with him just a bit. But yeah, fantastic box jumps. If you've got any questions about any of the exercises, fire them in the comment box below, and then give Ben a follow at Ben the Bounce on Instagram. Cheers.